Good morning guys and welcome to part 3 of this Polish exploration video in early 2026. It is 3rd of January 2026, Saturday, and I am in the beautiful city of Malbork in northern Poland. And the temperature here is even colder than Warsaw. Currently it is -5, but at least I'm seeing the sun, something which hadn't happened in the last 3 days. So it is pretty good. Now, why am I walking towards the castle of Malbork, which is the main tourist object here? Let me give you some information about this city. This city started as a city around a fortress, just like many medieval cities. In the year 1274, the Teutonic Order Knights came here and started building a fortress on the eastern bank of the Nugat River, which was the fortress was known as Marienburg at that time, and the city also had the same name, which definitely means the city of the Holy Virgin Mary. This city was held by the Teutonic Order Knights for around 200 years, till around 1450, something like that. And the fortress itself was expanded around these 200 years because this was the main fortification of the Teutonic Order Knights in the region. So, after all, it became a very complex and very big structure consisting of three different palaces and a fortress combined into one huge thing. You will see it in around 20 minutes, I think. I bought tickets in advance, so we should not have a problem to get inside. But here is how the modern day city of Malbork looks. It is pretty decent, as you can see. Here we have some remnants of the Christmas market, which are still not dismantled. And here we have a statue. I'm not sure exactly of who, but indeed it is pretty impressive. Let's see. This definitely seems to be a Polish king, maybe the one who conquered the region from the Teutonic Order during the wars in the 15th century. But anyway, let me get to the castle itself and I will give you more information about it. Meanwhile, keep in mind that this city was controlled for around 300 years by the Polish kingdom after they conquered it from the Teutonic Order in the 15th century. And after that was part of different German states, Prussia and also the Second and the Third Reich for another 200 years. And since 1945, after the end of the Second World War, this city is again part of the Polish country. So let me get to the castle itself and we will continue from there. Just look at that beast, guys. This is really huge and really impressive. I'm not sure if the camera is able to represent it properly, but this is a really huge complex. Here you can find the map of the region, most probably from the time of the Teutonic Order. Here you have very beautiful towers, and this, I suppose, is the main entrance to the fortress, but I will need to check where exactly I can enter, so let me figure it out. I am continuing to walk around the castle without knowing exactly where is the main entrance. My next guess is there via this wooden bridge, but we will see in a bit. At least a lot of people are going there. And here is a picture of the castle, how it looked after the end of the Second World War. Unfortunately, it was approximately 50% destroyed, so the Polish state took a lot of efforts to reconstruct and renovate it so that it can look the way that you see it now. And it is pretty visible. If you look at the walls, you can clearly see the different sections of old and new bricks which are overlapping, but I think that they did quite a good job. So let's see what exactly we have inside. By the way, when you are buying tickets, you can do that online. I did, and you have two options. One is free. In fact, you have three options. One is a full tour of a castle, which takes approximately 3.5 hours, and unfortunately I don't have time for that. Second is mostly focus on the outside of the castle, and it takes approximately 1.5 hours. And there is a third section which is focused on the monasteries inside, but it is currently not offered due to restoration and renovation works. And by the way, just like that, we enter and you see another castle inside the first castle. So this is pretty impressive. And here we have a very interesting map. This is a map showing all the castles that were built by the Teutonic Order Knights in the Order state in Prussia, the region in Prussia which they controlled at that time. As you can see, the castles were really important for them, not only as fortifications but as places where they collected taxes and financed their country this way. Obviously, here is the entrance where tickets are checked. I will come in a bit because I have a ticket already, but before that, let me show you this outer side, which is very beautiful. And also, I want to see what's the view towards the river. Let me get there. So guys, this is the Nogat River. You can see it. It is even partially frozen currently. And this river was very important because it is very easy for ships to come from Baltic Sea to here. And the Teutonic Order Knights collected taxes from all boats that were coming from the Baltic Sea to here, and this was one very important source of income for them. Let's now get inside and see how exactly the internal part looks. Well guys, this is the main entrance to the inner part of the castle. And one thing that you should know when you come here is that even if you have bought ticket online, you have to go through the ticket office and take an audio guide with you. This audio guide is free, but even if you don't need it, like I don't need it, you have to take it because otherwise they just don't allow you to enter and you have to go back to the ticket office, like I did. So here is obviously the main courtyard, which looks pretty impressive. We also have some old weapons here, cannons. obviously a lot of things to investigate. Here you can see some reconstruction of ceramics which were unfortunately lost during the Second World War. These are obviously new, but the originals were lost during the destruction, partial destruction of the castle in the Second World War. This is some original ceramics. And here we have some more. And this is how the inside of the palace looks. These are the typical medieval stairs, narrow and relatively steep. Here we have some medieval helmets, weapons, shields and other weaponry from these old ages. Some arrows. And here you can see some more information about the Teutonic Order, where they come from and which territories they managed to conquer between 14th and 15th century. This is pretty well made. You know that I'm not a big fan of museums. Anyway, this looks pretty good. We have some flags, some excavations obviously took place to uncover additional regions of the castle. A lot of swords, the main weapon at that time. And some more modern weapons. Even firearms. Well, this is really well made. Impressive. Frankly, guys, I'm not 100% sure what I am and what I'm not allowed to see with my normal ticket pass, if this internal part was included or not, but it is not clearly written. I entered, nobody asked me for tickets, so I suppose that it is included. Let's see what we have here. Okay, these are the Teutonic Grand Masters. Okay, pretty impressive, pretty well made. Let me see what exactly we have here before going further inside this beautiful castle. Here you can see another inside part of the castle with very beautiful drawings. big fireplace. I guess it wasn't easy to keep warm such a big place.
Prowincji. On walczył też jak lew, żeby ten zamek umiarował. Zapraszam. Wszystko musiało, że tak powiem, być za
This is really a huge place, and this is only the first part of it. We will now see also the other ones. Just look at the sheer size of this beautiful building. Here we have original cannon from 1878, a short one. And here I'm not exactly sure what we will have, but let's see. I'm not sure what's the purpose of this place. But anyway, we saw it. Maybe this diagram explains it, but unfortunately I don't understand neither Polish nor German, and this seems to be the only two languages which are used here, but I guess that it is some kind of heating system responsible for the heating of this part of the castle. If you guys know what this is, let me know in the comments. So we are now entering another part of the castle. Frankly, when I was reading that you need 1.5 hours just to see it from outside, and that there are 3 castles inside this huge structure, I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe, but I don't believe it. But now, seeing it personally, it is really true. You can see how thick are the walls. Obviously, this place was really important for the Teutonic Knights, because you can imagine how much efforts and finances were needed to build all of this. Look how high is this tower. This seems to be the well which provided water to the castle in case of siege when the river is not accessible. Let's see if we can also get inside. These windows are also very impressive because during the medieval ages only the very wealthy people could afford to have glass windows so that they can have a light during the winter inside their homes. Normal people just couldn't afford this luxury at that time. And I really like the fact that they opened a lot of the castle for visitors. This is a very beautiful mosaic. And this is going maybe to the tower. Okay, let's check where it goes. So here we can see how the whole castle looks from above. This is really well made. This here is the central structure which we are currently exploring. And this is the first yard where we were and where the tickets were checked. And this is the whole structure. You can see the sheer size of this thing. It was really impressive. It is impressive now, and it was even more impressive back in the Middle Ages. Here you can see an old photograph of a very huge statue of Virgin Mary, which was present but unfortunately now is destroyed. Here is one fragment of it that survived. This is from 1380, very ancient. It is really a pity that this was destroyed, but yeah. As we explained already, during the Second World War, this place also had quite a serious destruction. So this, guys, is one of the chapels. I'm not 100% sure if it is operational now or not, but you can see how huge it is. And here you can clearly see the different types of bricks that were used, the original ones and the ones that were later used for the restoration works. And one of the things that you should keep in mind here is that the restoration works took place not only after the Second World War, but also before that, during the times when this was part of the German Empire. They also did a lot of restoration works. So you have different people who worked over centuries transforming this place to make it look the way it looks today. And what you see is the combined effort of all those people. I'm not sure what was that, but obviously we are not supposed to be inside. Here is another view of the courtyard. Here you can see some small statues of saints from the middle centuries. The originals of these are in the Museum of Warsaw, but here are some very good replicas so that you can see them. By the way, they are pretty well made. At that time, most of the people were illiterate, they couldn't read and write, so these statues of saints were one of the ways for religion to be spread and to flourish. And here we have a second batch of such statues. Most of them are made from wood, which was the main material back then, but also maybe we will see some made of stone. I'm not sure. Yes, this one seems to be made of stone. Overall, very, very beautiful artwork. The amount of detail is impressive. Here we have some more rooms. This seems to be like a place to eat. I'm not 100% sure, but at least it looks to be so. Again with a very big fireplace. Here we have another section. I'm not 100% sure where I am going, but even the walk here is interesting within this huge structure. And by the way, this corridor goes to the toilet. If you are wondering how a toilet looked at the Middle Ages, well, here it is. You just sit here. You can see you use some leaves instead of toilet paper because it was not invented yet at that time. And this one is open. As you can see, what gets out of you goes directly to the base of the tower, and nobody cares about it, which was a clever decision back then, because otherwise someone would have to clean this from the castle from time to time, and this solved the problem. Well, here we have something which looks like a bedroom. Maybe not the bedroom of someone more very important, because it doesn't look so, but the bedroom after all. And here maybe this was some kind of treasury, because it looks pretty well fortified. Maybe here the guards left that was guarding the treasures. Dignitaries' chambers. Okay. Maybe after all, some important people slept here. These were used for beverages, I suppose, alcoholic ones maybe, and some bronze pottery. And this is another chapel inside the castle. There were several. Even some of the paintings from that time are still preserved and looking pretty well, considering how old they are. Here we are at the ground floor with some additional open places to see. This seems to be some kind of bakery where they produce the bread, I suppose. And this seems to be the kitchen, which is pretty big and pretty well equipped, which is to be expected considering that this is really huge place and you can imagine how many people lived here and needed to eat. So this is really impressive. Well, guys, I can't exactly understand what this place is because again everything is written in Polish and German, which I don't understand, but seems to be some kind of collection of beautiful window mosaics, which looks pretty impressive. Here we have some fragments. Maybe this is how these were made. So this, guys, is pretty much everything that I can show you from here. I looked everywhere where I could enter, and now I will slowly go back to the entrance point, which is also the exit, and try to find some place to eat and get a little bit warm because the weather here is definitely colder than the one in Warsaw. Overall, my opinion is that this castle is really good and you have to see it if you have the possibility. Yes, it took a lot of destruction during the ages, the centuries. Yes, it had several reconstruction works, so not so much is original, but every reconstruction work was done pretty well, and you see it for yourself. After all, this is either one of the biggest castles made from bricks or the biggest one in the world. I'm not 100% sure. I need to check that. But anyway, it is really impressive thing. See you in a bit, guys. So guys, I found a place to eat. It is called Karolinka and Lenka, which is interesting place. I suppose that maybe these are the names of the owners. This one is the beer that I got. It is called Comtour and it is dark lager, 6.5%. Let's check it. This is pretty good example of dark lager. I like it. The bitterness is on the low side. There is some sweetness, but it is not overwhelming and it is very well balanced with the alcohol. I'm happy with this. And here is the food that I got. It is called pieczeń z karkówki, if I pronounce it correctly, and seems to be pork chop with some potatoes and a mix of salads. Let me enjoy this, and after that I will go back to Warsaw to finish with one last night of craft beer experience.